We are looking here at the top of the Leica X1 again. This video's in response to a viewer comment down below about the feel of the shutter speed dial and the aperture dial here. It's hard to really describe the feel of a knob through a video, but I'll do my best here. The shutter speed dial is quite large. It is easy to turn, but it does have a very positive feel when it goes into place, and I have not bumped it during the course of a shooting day. If I'm out and I'm shooting, I've got the camera in my hands, I haven't inadvertently bumped and changed any of these settings. The only time it's been an issue is when I'm pulling it out of the case. And I'll show you here. I'm using the Leica X1 case. It's a very tight fitting case, so much so that you can see the impressions here of the shutter speed dial and the aperture dial here, and even a little bit the ring of the shutter release. So using that case, I have had some times when I've pulled it out and it's moved the dial. It's moved the aperture a little bit and or the shutter speed dial. It's actually a good habit anyway to check your settings before you shoot. And pulling the camera out of the case, I make it a habit of checking my settings before I shoot. I'm mostly an aperture shooter, so I generally have it in 2.8 and automatic shutter speed. I've pulled it out before, and it's not every single time, but I have pulled it out of the case and I've found that my shutter speed has moved a little bit, and or the aperture. The aperture does feel more firm than the shutter speed dial, but I think that's mostly a function of the diameter of the aperture dial. This aperture dial is a lot smaller, and so it gives the impression, or not the impression, it actually does feel more secure and takes slightly more force to change the aperture setting compared to the shutter speed setting. That being said, it's not a problem throughout the course of a day shooting unless you're constantly taking your camera in and out of this case here. I'm not taking it in and out of this case very often. Usually when I take it out, it's out and I'm shooting for a while. So when I do take it out, it's just a habit I've used with every camera anyway. I check my settings and then pull the trigger. I understand sometimes for street shooting, you don't always have the time to sit there and fiddle around with your dials, but it's just one of those things. You have to get to know the quirks of the particular camera that you are using, and the trade-off for checking my dials before I shoot with the quality and the size and the feel of the X1, it's no question, it's something that doesn't bother me at all. I knew about this going into the camera. I went to the shop, I tried it out, I read the forums, and I knew about it. I agree with the general opinion out there is that they do feel loose and they can be bumped. But again, I've got the camera in my hands, I love it, I use it daily, and it's not too much of a problem for me. I would suggest that you get out and give one a try. I know that distributors are starting to get a hold of these much more frequently now. The distribution chain seems to be flowing a little bit better. If you have a friend that has one, give it a try. If you have a Leica shop nearby, try to make it in. Give it a try. That's the best thing that I could recommend. Until then, don't let the feel of these, or what you're reading about the feel of these knobs, stop you from buying this camera. It's a wonderful photographic tool, beautiful prime lens here. Don't let this knob stop you from getting it. It's a fantastic camera, good feel, good handling, and it's something that, you know, I'd highly recommend. I'd highly recommend this camera to anyone. Great camera. It's the Leica X1, and thanks for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll do my best to get to your comments as soon as possible. Thanks.